I'm joined by my co-host Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico, and Carlos Ponce in
Hello.
Mexico City. Hi guys, welcome back to
Hello.
Hi, Kim.
Monday.
Hello, Kim.
So
Yeah,
last,
we
Monday.
made it.
all right, don't start singing it. This is not that show. But anyway,
I get
last
more and
week
more
we
like my
had.
mother every day.
Now I'm gonna have that song in my head the whole day. Last week we had two guests on Dojo Live. We talked about wearables on Tuesday, and we talked about AI on Wednesday. And on Tuesday there were three things that stood out. One was this idea that wearables can help improve healthcare by predicting problems. And by wearable, I'm talking about wearable, not only devices, but like there's clothes and things of that nature that are coming down the pike. And also this idea that data can be shared for increased collaboration among healthcare providers, which is something really critically important, especially with what's going on right now. That's kind of like the key to success worldwide. And the idea of having a pulse, pun intended, on your health empowers us to make more informed decisions, right? I mean, this idea of Apple coming out with pods that take your temperature, you can make a decision whether, if your temperature's fine, whether you're going to go somewhere and be at risk or for others and so on. And then on Wednesday, our guest, we were talking about how companies that are using AI to like AI chatbots, for example, for how they respond to candidates applying for jobs, increase customer loyalty. There's a direct connection between the experience that a candidate has with a company and whether they become loyal customers and the kind of loyalty that you have. This is specifically for B2C companies. And also this idea that AI doesn't replace the human relationship or the human interaction, but it helps to enhance responsiveness. Those are the things I remember, the 3 points from each show. What stood out for you guys? Let's start with Tuesday, talking about wearables.
Sure. Our chat with Yenvy. First of all, I thought both conversations this last week were really fun, very enlightening, very well delivered, and I enjoyed both of them. So if you haven't watched them yet, do that. But with Yenvy talking specifically about wearables in the health industry, for me, I think it was this interesting idea that one, it's not going anywhere, that's the trend, that's where the future will be. I felt both encouraged and a little, I don't know what the right word is, disheartened at this idea of, for me, my perspective is it could go one of two ways, right? Either helping add some equilibrium, I think, to healthcare, right, amongst people, or continuing this kind of division of the haves and the have-nots, right? I like this idea of using technology, I think, in healthcare to be more preventative rather than reactive. And I think in that sense, it could push the cost of healthcare down and make it more equally accessible for all. But then this idea of having to use technology to do so, and not everyone has equal opportunity when it comes to accessing technology. So for me, that was kind of food for thought. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. But the idea of technology being used in healthcare, I think, is really fascinating.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I mean, for it to be effective, it has to be democratized, number one, and number two, it has to be accessible to everyone, right? You don't want to have situations where only those who can afford it would have those wearables so that they get preventative benefits of getting alerts or what have you, or predictive information that can help them avoid a problem. It should be accessible to everyone. I mean, ultimately, if you want to solve the big issue, solve accessibility, and that's critically important. I don't know how fast that'll happen, but anyone who's listening that's in the wearables business, keep that in mind to definitely make it affordable for all.
Right. Technology has in some ways done that. If you look at a factor, not everywhere, but I think of the 6-7 billion people on the planet, almost all of them, regardless of their socioeconomic stature, have a cell phone, right? So I think there is something to that. But I mean, just this, even the idea of internet accessibility, right, which is so few and far between and can vary from country to country, region to region. I don't know, but it was fascinating. I think her take on it was really great. And I also liked what you brought out, this idea of another woman in STEM, which...
Which idea was that?
Yeah, you did.
Another
You didn't
woman
mention.
involved in technology in STEM, which was
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
interesting.
you
that's
did bring
right.
it up, Julio.
That's
It's
right, I
it's
did.
all about women in tech, right?
No, it's great. We
You did
need more
mention,
women in tech.
by all
We need
means.
a different approach, different mindset than we're used to in tech, which has been predominantly a male dominated space, and I think it's very refreshing. So we got to see more of that. I was encouraged by that. Moving on to Wednesday, I found that a conversation really interesting about how to use AI in such a way that's transparent to people to be more responsive, but not replace the importance of having relationships with people. And something stood out for me in the conversation where they were saying we don't hide the fact that you are interacting with an AI bot, right? And in fact, we don't encourage companies
Mhm.
to hide that. And I have to say, there have been times where you're responding to something and it looks so intuitive that you think there's a human being on the other side. And then about a minute or so into it, you realize, oh, I'm actually interacting with a machine. And it's such a letdown in that moment because you think you're making progress, but you're not getting anywhere, right? So the idea of being transparent, saying, hey, you are interacting with a machine right now. There is, this is intended to give you some
Mhm.
information, basic responsiveness, so you don't feel like we're just forgotten about you. But ultimately, this context of this conversation will benefit a live person who's going to interact with you post.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really important, and also this idea that companies that are not creating a positive experience for candidates are not thinking about how that impacts their bottom line. It does actually impact their reputation in the marketplace. It impacts the perception that they're creating in the marketplace. And we live in a time where that kind of information flies instantly and rapidly, and it's very accessible. It's not like back 20, 30 years ago where you could hide this stuff. So if you're only worried about taking care of your customers, but you're not taking care of the relationship or the experience that candidates are having with you, you're not fully taking care of your customers because those are also your customers. I thought that was really enlightening to think about it that way. What did you guys think?
Go ahead, Carlos. I've talked a
Kim?
lot today. I mean,
Yeah, the thing is,
I thought it was.
yeah. Go ahead, Kim. Ladies first. I got my own share, but go ahead. Yes, please, by all
All
means.
I have to say is I thought it was an interesting insight into the trend where even when he mentioned people knowing outright that they're interacting with a bot, that there's appreciation there. And so I think that this idea of something, and it's a high quality something, is certainly better than nothing. And also just this idea of us as people and humanity, where this idea of interacting with a machine, I think, is becoming less and less odd. More like, okay, I can do that. And I think that has some insight there as well.
Yeah. What I do think about all this is that as interesting as it is, especially with the implementation of AI in a field that is so intrinsically human as human resources, well, quote unquote human resources, right? Because we know that Nearsight is all about calling people people and not resources. But still, just for the sake of clarity, uh, this whole AI thing, at least personally, there might be like a ton of platforms out there that are like the one that Ameya told us about, and I think it's great because it helps us streamline the process in more ways than one. But personally, I got like mixed feelings about what happened with what happens with AI interacting with humans, and I'm not bad mouthing AI by no means. It's just like I kind of wonder what it's going to take for AI not to become so evolved or so complex. That kind of worries me. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between a bot and a human being. As Tulio mentioned, it's sometimes when you realize you're talking to a bot, it's like, damn, I thought I was talking to a human. It's kind of a dismay, right? But if we get to a point where that no one really notices, could be, a great thing in terms of technology, but then I kind of I would have second thoughts. I don't know.
Yeah,
I get this
you're
mixed feeling.
you're
What do you think?
you're talking about general availability of AI. I mean, like that's a
Yeah.
whole. We're not going to be there probably for a good 70, 80 years. I mean, that's just that cognitive kind of
No,
AI.
no,
It's not
I'm
even
talking about.
it's not even accessible to like military environments. People
No, I'm
talk
talking
about
about
it. It's
recruiting.
exciting, but yeah, but definitely, I think the point is what's happening now is you go into this hole, right? It's like you just disappear as a candidate, and that's not
Mm.
an effective way to deal with, especially companies that are hiring thousands of people. This is what we were talking about: companies hiring thousands of people, and there are still companies amid COVID-19 hiring thousands of people right now. There's just not enough people in their own organization to get back to everyone. So rather than not get back to anyone or not enough people and create a sense of like, oh, they forgot about me, they don't care about me, I'm not going to do business with them, at least have something that looks somewhat intuitive that creates a sense of like, hey, we actually do care. We invested enough to respond to you. We want to have a conversation with you. And then we're going to take this to a more personalized interaction once we sense that we're a good fit. So I thought that was good, and I think that's a smart use of AI because it's about extending the capabilities that you are limited by. That's just the nature of not having enough people, right? But not replacing people. That was the key thing. It's not about
Mhm.
replacing as it is enhancing. We're up on time, guys. We went over already. So anything else you want to talk about? What do we got coming up tomorrow and Wednesday, Carlos?
Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow, actually, this is going to be one again a double whammy week, and tomorrow we're going to be speaking with Scott Robinson, the founder of the app company. And if you bear with me, I can tell you because he just sent me the topic like a few minutes ago, and I haven't had the time to upload it to the website. We're going to be speaking about apps for everyone, creating a native custom quality apps using an automated platform. That's what we're going to be
Okay. Sounds like
talking
another
about.
low code platform. That should be interesting. And
Yep,
then Wednesday,
right.
what do we got coming up?
And on Wednesday, we're going to be speaking with, I'll tell you right now, bear with me. We're going to be speaking with Jesse Fuel. I hope I get that right. I don't think I get it right all the time. Just and if you bear with me, I can tell you exactly what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday, and that is okay. Let's see, it's right there. That has been already uploaded into the Dojo Live website. Hold on. We're going to be. Sorry, guys, it's been a crazy day.
Nothing like
We're going
being
to be talking
prepared.
about on-tapped agility with Jesse Fuel, 7 leadership moves to transform your transformation.
Oh,
So that's going
nice.
to be on Wednesday, guys.
I like
And
it.
that's it.
Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow.
See you soon. Thank you, everyone.